I moved here, and my kids say that I joined a cult, but I don't like to say that because probably my ego, but it was a religious thing. We moved up onto a mountain to homestead church land, and it went south really fast.
Welcome to Elevated Life, Real Wellness and Transformation Podcast, where we walk alongside the internally driven individual as they transform their life through wellness, movement, mindset, and personal responsibility. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's jump in.
As you all know, if you've listened to really any of these podcasts, we are moving.
Yes,
We are leaving Tonasket, Washington, where we live. We've lived here lots of time, different between the two of us, but for a long, long time, and moving to Kauai. But we thought it might be interesting to list off some of the reasons why we decided to leave Tonasket / Okanogan County. Kind of all lumps in. We've both made lists. Have not looked at each other's lists.
No.
The only thing that we've said is mine seems broad. Jonna's seems very refined. But I think there's probably going to be some overlap, I would imagine. But you want to just jump in?
Yeah, let's jump in. So I have 7 reasons why. I think there's 7. I don't know. Scribbly notes. So why don't you go first?
I think. Okay. I was going to say, I'll just go. These are in no particular order. I just have
do one at a
4.
time.
Yep, exactly what I'm going to do. I have 4. And so I'll just list off the first one I have, and then it's probably on your list too.
We'll see.
The first one I wrote down was the weather / the environment. Mm-hmm. And by that, sorry, one sec. Excuse me. There's a lot of great those about the weather and the environment, I guess, here. So really I'm talking about like climate and just, those kinds of nature-y type things. Mm-hmm. But, we go back, I guess, one of the things, because we've lived here a long time, we can remember, and I was born here, moved away, moved back a couple times, moved away, moved back. So, been around the area for a long, long time. But, one of the positives that it used to be is we had 4 distinct seasons. And to go along with that, one of the taglines used to always be 300 days of sunshine a year in Okanogan County. Yeah, that was a big selling point to get people. Well, I don't know if it was to get people to come here, but
When was that?
it would have
Can
been
you
like,
remember the year?
well, when I was in high school.
Okay, so just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so in the 1900s.
Yeah.
That was definitely something, and you don't hear that anymore.
No,
right?
because that's not true.
Yeah, so what we experience more and more is, we'll have an abbreviated spring, an abbreviated fall, but it's lots of cold and lots of really hot. Mm-hmm. And the sunshine just doesn't seem like, it's sunny out today, but 300 days a year is not happening anymore.
No.
Just, it's been, especially in the winter. So for those of you who aren't local, it's very common to have temperatures in I don't want to exaggerate too much.
Yeah.
But in the teens.
Yeah.
And we live at a little bit of an elevation. So, in the single digits. A couple years ago, we had a stretch where we had several days where it was like pushing 20 below.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, we had several days where it was like up over 110.
Yeah.
So, that's a big swing. But then we seem to be missing a lot of the chunks where it's like 70.
Right.
And just clear.
Yep. Yeah, I actually have the exact same thing. It's the 100-degree temperature swings, and it's the fog and gray in the winter on top of the cold. So if it was gray in the winter and I was still seeing green grass and, it was 40 degrees but raining, that might be a different situation, which was why Oregon was always a big contender for us to move to. But it's bitter ass cold and gray. And a lot of the times we are like right in a cloud, and it just, it's light till 3:30, and then, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark again till 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. It's become brutal. And it wasn't like that before, because when I first moved here for the first 5 or 6 years, the winters were beautiful, totally doable, clear skies. Then the clouds would come just when there was going to be a snowstorm, and then they would part, and then you were in the sun again, and it was crisp and beautiful. It's not like that anymore for several years now. And so it's just become, it doesn't matter how much vitamin D I take, or, a whole winter preparation that I do for the last 2 winters to kind of get me, through. They just haven't helped. And then when the spring comes, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how brutal winter was for my mental health until spring comes and things start to melt. And what has happened in the last 2 years with spring is that it's wind. The wind has just been like insane. And I have been cold up till like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago here in the morning. And I don't know. It just, and then the summers, it's beautiful, but it gets brutally hot, and then it's fire season. And although they fight fires differently now, they're on it, doggone it. When my house burnt down, they weren't flying airplanes with any kind of wind. Now, I'm not sure what changed. Maybe just because everything burns the fuck down. They're like, we have to fly in the wind anyway. But then we have fire season where everyone's just like, don't breathe, right? And then smoke. So you're inhaling like old couches for, sometimes some years it's been like a month or more. Yeah. So that's definitely been a contributing factor. And the bitter cold really affects my bones, my skin, all of that. And now the extreme heat is starting to do that as well. I'm just get overheated, and it's just a lot.
And not to harp on this too much, and then we can move on to the next one. But just to be clear, we understand some of those things have always been.
Yeah.
It's always been cold in the winter and hot in the summer. So some of it, we've seen some changes like we talked about. And some of it is just, I know I can speak for myself, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of shoveling snow and being cold. And we talked in the last podcast, I get anxious about driving on bad roads, and you never know when roads are going to be bad. And it's not always, first thing in the morning. It can be you go out to dinner, or what used to always happen when I had kids in school, you'd go like a couple hours away or whatever to a basketball game or something, and it was nothing, and you come out and it snowed 8 inches. Yeah. And now you've got that for the drive home.
Yes.
So it's, just alleviating that. It's beautiful and green here 3 months, I would say, maybe 4 months in the spring and early summer, and then it dries out, and then we get a little burst of color again in late September. Yeah. And then it's winter. Yeah. So, there isn't a lot of, just other than the evergreen trees, right, there isn't a lot of like green grass and foliage and that kind of stuff. And that again hasn't changed. I'm just at a point in my life where I don't want that anymore. Yep.
Absolutely. I feel the exact same way. So weather, that is one reason. Yeah. All right. What's your next one, sir?
This one I can guarantee you have broken out into multiple pieces. So whatever part of it you want to talk about, obviously you can. And if you want to save stuff for later, you can. But I just have history. Yeah. And, Jonna and I have our own history as individuals. And then we have history together here. The history for me as an individual, all in all isn't horrible, but it's just something that I'm kind of tired of. And it can be even something simple as, people that I don't know that know me from, because I went to high school here, that know me like from high school and bring stuff up, that'll stop me in the grocery store and bring something up, from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Or my family, because I still have a ton of family in the area and have, obviously. So, that ties into the history. So now, I'm lumped in with members of my family that, I have no relationship with. I have no interactions with. Some of them I haven't talked to in years and years and years. But because of my name or who I am in this community, I'm all of a sudden lumped into different groups. And quite honestly, I'm just tired of it. I'm ready to not have that. I'm ready to not know even just simple things, which some people would enjoy, but I don't, running into like some, I don't even know what it would be called. Well, I could just say like a second cousin, or I was going to say like a second aunt, like some whatever level, great aunt, I don't know. I don't know how that, when you start getting at that levels, but somebody that I don't know that, knows my parents or my grandparents and wants to talk to me about that kind of stuff. And like, I'm just trying to buy my bread and milk and get out of the store.
Yeah.
I'm not, those are things, again, some people love it. Some people want to be in a place like that because they need that, and fantastic.
Yep. I
don't, and I don't want it. So I'm ready to not have it anymore.
Yeah. That's really great. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to circle back to that when I get to my reasons. One of the reasons that I have been, well, first of all, I've been trying to leave this area probably a month after I moved to this area. I need that to be said. But God had a different source, whatever, had a different plan because I had a ton of lessons that I needed to learn. And that cycle has completed itself. And so that's why I've been released. So I'm going to start off with saying that. One of my reasons is a fit community. So I'm not saying again, I'm not judging anyone here. With all this stuff that I'm going to say, I'm not judging anyone here. But when you live in a poor community, what do I want to call it? County? Like we're one of the poorest counties in Washington State. Health and fitness is not something that people are super focused on. Not only that, but if they do, in my experience, if they do want to start focusing on it, they don't want to pay for it. And I still have bills that I need to pay, and I didn't go to school for free, and I need to be compensated for my time. And that's not something that is within this community on the scale that can support what I was doing, right? There was a ceiling. We've talked about this multiple times. There is a scarcity mindset here, and just like there's not enough to go around, right? And there's plenty to go around. I don't believe in scarcity. I don't believe in limiting beliefs. I think that we put those things on our emotions. And so I just want to expand and live in a community that is more not only physically health minded, but also mental health minded. And that is not something that it's starting to blossom a little bit. But I need a flower, right? I've planted a seed with the gym and with the interactions that I've had, but I'm ready to expand. And that's not here. Yeah. So do you want to speak to that?
Sure. 'Cause I think a few of the things that you just talked about lump into one of my things, which I just wrote down. It's run its course.
Mm-hmm.
And when I wrote that down, I was thinking basically exactly what you just said at the start of this. With there were absolutely lessons that I needed to learn here, and there was growth that needed to happen. And not that it had to happen here, but this was a place that facilitated it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm eternally grateful for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to say, what life would be if you didn't do something, because how the fuck do you know?
Totally. And you did it. So whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Hey friends, if you're getting something out of this, connect with us on our social media platforms. We're at CJ Elevated Life _ on Instagram and TikTok, and CJ Elevated Life on Facebook and X. We're answering DMs, sharing daily content, and building community with people ready for real transformation. For now, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We drop 2 new episodes every week. And if this episode resonates, share it. That's how we reach more people who are ready for change. You can also find everything at cjelevatedlife.com. All right, let's keep going.
But I do know that I've learned a lot of great lessons. Some of them have been really hard to learn, for sure. But a lot of things that happened here, that because I was here, they happened here.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, kind of like what you were alluding to at the end, that part is over.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't know when it was going to be over. And for a long time, in the most recent stint that I lived here, which has been almost 20 years now, I didn't think it was going to be over. I just thought, okay, well, this is just going to be what it is. This is what life is now. And so be it. I'll do it until I don't anymore. But now I realize, no, those were opportunities to learn something and grow and really expand myself as a human being.
Right.
And I've been able to do that. And I'm not saying that is over by any stretch. I just feel like the universe or source or whatever the driving force is in lives is saying, you're good here.
Yeah.
This part, you've done what you needed to do. Mm-hmm. And now it's time to go get lessons somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. So this kind of piggybacks on that, because I wrote, I need a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I moved here, and this is Jonna might cry. Spoiler alert. I moved here, and my kids say that I joined a cult, but I don't like to say that because probably my ego, but it was a religious thing. We moved up onto a mountain to homestead church land, and it went south really fast. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you know a couple of those things. It went south really fast, and we had to pivot. And then after we pivoted, we had a house burn down. And then after that, I got involved in the community and as a coach, and was fired under false pretenses because people who had claimed to be my friends literally started a coup behind my back. And then I got a very public divorce with a lot of rumors around that, some factual, some not. And the people who came and asked me to my face got that information. Mm-hmm. And that was right around the time that I started Elevated. And it was just a lot. And so a lot of lessons, like history, like you were talking about, that I'm no longer those people, the person that moved here in a cult, the person whose house burnt down, the person that lost their coaching job, or the person that got a divorce and had a bunch of rumors. I'm not that person anymore. And I feel like we live in a community where all of those things constantly follow you. Like it is a chain around your neck for the rest of your life, because of the level of judgment that unfortunately, and not everyone here, all right, but there's a really large portion of people that walk in a lot of judgment, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of, just gossipy stuff without ever talking to you directly. And I'm ready to not have that ball and chain tied around my neck anymore. I just, I'm just over it because it affects, when I made this list, probably the biggest, when I really started getting social anxiety was when I lost my coaching job because of, people said I was abusive to children. And that just fucking blew my mind. And then it just made me, not want to be in the community anymore. And then, with my divorce, it's like I don't even feel like I can go somewhere and have a cup of coffee or go to a restaurant in town and have a meal. I'm very limited, and it might be my own limitations, but there are interactions that happen constantly that confirm my point. And so, so I'm just ready to be able to go to a fucking coffee shop and have a cup of coffee without someone asking me sideways questions or trying to get into my business. I mean, if you want to know my business, listen to my fucking podcast because I say it all, right? I rarely hold back. You don't have to stalk. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
No, that's
okay. Because I think it's important, and maybe it's just important for me to vocalize, but we are, because a lot of the stuff we're talking about, you might be listening to this, listeners, and thinking we're bashing on Tonasket or Okanogan County, or that we're naive about things. And I would say this: we completely understand. Maybe I can hopefully speak for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. The stuff that we're talking about is not unique to Tonasket. Right. The thing that's unique to Tonasket is that's where it happened to us.
Yeah.
Somebody else could move here, moving away from all those exact same things, and not have any of that here because it's their new beginning.
Right.
So it's not that we're talking about anything that is unique to here or that we won't potentially face at some point, no matter where we move next, because we'll be the new people, right. the Howleys,
right?
The non-locals on the island, and obviously, as the longer you're in a place, you're going to develop relationships, and people are going to have opinions of you, and all that same stuff. We understand that.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is our specific situation, which is here.
Yeah.
Those things happened here. So the only way to move forward from them is for us to move forward, is for us to leave.
Yeah, exactly. I also want to say that, as I've worked through all of the layers of all of the things that I just mentioned, I believe that I have emerged a better version of Jonna. And so when I move, the better version of Jonna gets to shine brighter without the ball and chain constantly being huffed behind me. That's the part that I'm just super excited to cut loose.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I would totally echo that.
Yeah.
Because I certainly have some reputations here from actions and behaviors in the past that are deserved.
Yeah.
But that I have moved on from.
Right.
That this community can't
and
or
that,
won't.
that's the bigger issue. And we could probably do a podcast on that. But it's just You know, what you did a decade ago or what happened a decade ago in this community, you're still that person. Even if you've completely changed, that's just what it is. And I don't understand that, because that's not how I view people, because we're all just being humans on this planet. Every single one of us fuck up. I'm not trying to downplay my fuck ups, but it's just very curious to me that, you know, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, and I'm ready to cut that fucking pot off. It
really feels like the only opportunity for change and growth you have is to be just enough so that if something happens and you fuck up again, it's like, see, told you, you're really not that.
Yeah.
You really haven't grown. You are just this piece of shit, whatever, you know, the thing that's following you from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really are just that person. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Right. And it's just, I don't know what it is here, but it is a through line that I just can't entertain anymore. I just can't. So, anyway, do you want to go?
Well, I only have one more, and it lightens the mood significantly. So I don't know if you want to do that and then get back into the other stuff that you have.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to do that?
Go for it.
My last one is just lack of entertainment. And that there is certainly a lot of things to do. I mean, we love going to the lake. There's lots of lakes.
Nature does not disappoint here, guys. It is phenomenal.
Yep. But other things are lacking.
Sure.
You know, just whatever it might be. And, you know, there are, if you really, and again, this might just sound like excuses or me being a baby or a victim or whatever, but this is my perspective. And again, I think I can speak for you with this because you kind of already touched on it. There's limited stuff with just, hey, I feel like going and having a cup of coffee somewhere, you know, but it's, okay, that waitress, you know, was this, or there's these other locals, you know, that are there that have, you know, they're going to make some comment, or they're going to go,
or I'm going to hear it on the gossip chain the next day.
Yeah. And so they're limited things to begin with, because it's a rural community that, you know, there just aren't that many things to do, and that's what you get. That's the trade-off of being away from people, you know, and in the middle of nature and nowhere and whatever. But then the things that are here, you know, we find ourselves having to travel an hour
at the least
to go to dinner,
yeah,
or, you know, to do anything. So just that, and then the, you know, the bigger things, we do some of that, and I don't mind traveling for that kind of stuff, but it is just, you know, it's pretty limiting, and I'm just, and I guess the things that are here to do are the same things that have been here to do for a long, long time. And again, I'm not naive enough to think that moving to another small place, because we are.
Yeah.
We're moving to a tiny place.
Yeah.
That might not be the same thing. You know, their things to do are the things that, you know, like we just saw a local band that performs at a place really close to the place that we're going to live. And I'm sure they've been doing that for years, and it's the same, you know, and the locals that go there, like, oh yeah, they're here again. You know, they sing the same songs every Thursday night. But that's not going to be it for us. Right. It's going to be all new. And, you know, who knows what 15 years from now is going to bring. Right. But I know what today is bringing. Yeah. And it's bringing, I need new experiences. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other cool thing is that it's like an island hop away to go to Oahu and go to concerts and things of that nature. So actually shorter to go see a band in terms of travel than what we currently have. And honestly, the things that we like to do are mostly nature, right? I mean, honestly. And there's a ton of that where we're moving. Tons of nature. We love to go have coffee. And we love to go have dinner once in a while.
And I would just, one other kind of side note on that. We are not wintertime nature people.
No.
So, it might be something different if we love to ski or snowshoe or something like that, but we just don't. And so that nature part of it is still, it's such a small window here.
Yeah.
That, other times of the year, it's like, okay, well, we like to go to the lake and go paddleboarding, but when it's 5 degrees outside, we're
not
probably
doing
not
that.
doing that.
No.
So then
No.
what do we do? So...
Okay, so the other thing that I have, which kind of circles back to people, but not really, there's no real opportunities to volunteer for anything here. And I just heard a ton of people gasp and go, oh, yes, there's this, and that. But I have volunteered at so many different things. And the best one was the food bank, because it's run by the Weddles, who are fantastic people in our community. But other than that, there isn't. And you may say, yes, there is, Jonna. But the problem is that we have this mindset where the people who do volunteer get eaten alive, and then everyone wonders why no one volunteers. Mm-hmm. It's because they get chewed up and spit out for being human, making human mistakes, or not being, in constant conversation with people who are reaching out, whatever it is. It's very limiting. And I want to volunteer. Mm-hmm. I want to be a part of my community. I do. But I sure as shit am not going to sit in meetings where people are screaming at each other openly and then talking shit about people behind their back when they're just trying to do something good for the community. I mean, any kind of growth is just, hit upside the head. And I want to be somewhere where I can volunteer and not be, chewed up and spit out. Now, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's situations like that where we're going, because there's humans and there's always human behavior. However, I don't know how dramatic like a beach cleanup can get, right? I mean, I don't. So anyway, I want to volunteer and be a part of a community. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do. And those opportunities have run their course here.
I would say a couple things with that. Again, echoing, it might be the exact same thing where we're going, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And we want the opportunity to find out. Mm-hmm. My experience volunteering here, because I've volunteered on a lot of different things, is twofold. One, typically speaking, new ideas are not welcome. Yeah. And again, that might be anywhere. You know, if you have the same people who are kind of in charge of the various volunteer,
same 6 families,
and that could be anywhere. And then it's like, no, this is how we do things. Yep. And it's like, well, okay, what about this? Nope, you're shut out. Yeah. Or it ends up being, like you're saying, the same groups of people running it, also the same people that are volunteering. Excuse me one second. Excuse me. Volunteering for things. So then you become, okay, you're a volunteer. I know this happened with me. Like I'm going to step up. I'm going to help out with whatever, these 3 things. Now thing 4 comes up. Like, well, you're a volunteer, so you better help out with thing 4. Like, well, no, I'm not interested. I can't. I just don't want to. Mm-hmm. That's not a thing that I'm interested in. Like, oh, well, then you're a piece of shit. Yeah. So you don't volunteer for anything anymore. Yeah. Right? Like, well, I can list off the 50 things that I've done up until now and that I will continue to do in the future. I just don't want to do this one thing. Yeah. But it's just then all of a sudden it's like you get excommunicated. And that one was so bizarre to me. That's when because I get the ideas things. Whoever's in charge, they want to be in charge. They stepped up to be in charge, whatever. But the fact that I would be ostracized for not volunteering for the 8th thing when I did 1 through 7 and I'm going to do 9 through 12. Yeah. Be like verbally ostracized for it. That's all it took for me. It's like, fuck this. I'm done. Yeah. I'm not going to volunteer for anything ever again. And now you have 0.
And you know what? Unfortunately, that's pretty much what we have is 0, because our experiences are not unique in volunteerism in the community.
It's been so fascinating having different clients. And yeah, having different clients that are not quote unquote from here, that have moved here relatively recently, maybe not, not a super long time ago, whatever, that express the exact same thing without us asking, without us, trying to goad them in a certain direction. It's just like, I tried to volunteer and this is what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard that so many times. So it's just, it's certainly not just us.
No, it isn't. And so that's another reason. Go ahead.
That's all I have on my list.
All right. Well, I have one more.
Hey, quick pause. If this episode is hitting you and you're ready for real tools, here's what we built.
Head on over to cjelevatedlife.com, pick up the Rebuilt Method for Men or the Rebuilt Method for Women, just $67 each. We also created the Parasite Detox Blueprint at $37. And this is actually the exact protocol we use ourselves.
And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the weekly action steps and new tools we've tested ourselves. Let's get back to the episode.
My children do not want to come here and visit. They do not like it, and at all. I mean, even as of late, Granger's coming to visit. Now he wants to cut it short here because he doesn't want to be in Tonasket. They've had a lot of trauma associated with this area, and also, I have to be really careful with how I deliver what I'm going to say. But my children, a few of my children, I'm not going to name numbers, have sexual trauma here. And the perpetrator is still walking around. And this is the first time I've said this on the podcast.
Yeah.
So be gracious with me. This is something that I have been dealing with for an entire year, is when my first child came forward. After that, several more. And, obviously, they don't want to come back here. And I'm not going to say any more to this because I'm hoping that, things are happening for that person to either be brought to justice or to heal. I had to confront this person, and the denial and your kids are lying, all the things, bullshit. My family doesn't want to be here. They don't even want to come visit me here. And I don't want to make them do that because then they just have to remember shit. And I don't want to do that. And so that's a big deal. So I hope I did that graciously.
You absolutely did.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, and maybe later after I move, and I don't have to get the insane amount of blowback that happens in this community, I'll share more of that story. But it's, it's just, that's what it is. And I can't live here because I have to run into these people. And it has caused me, I don't even want to go to the grocery store because I'm scanning, right? I'm scanning. Who am I going to run into? Because I'm also not going to fake, but I'm not going to freak out. And this is like this weird balance where I get to walk out everything that I preach. And I understand that hurt people. And, I get all of that, but it's a lot to metabolize real time when you're running into people. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it for myself, and my kids don't even want to, run to the grocery store. There's one that's like, yeah, I'll run to the grocery store and, cause a scene. But, I'm not trying to set anyone up for failure either. So those are huge reasons, guys. It's not just, us flitting around. This has been things that we have gone back and forth with for a very long time. And the last thing that I mentioned, you know, for a year, just like, I need to get the fuck out of here, because this now is moving up into my joined a cult, house burned down, you know, got accused and lost my coaching job, got a divorce, and my kids were sexually molested by someone who's still in this community and supported by the people. And I can't do that. Fuck that. Like, so I'm super grateful that this cycle has completed itself, because, you know, we've talked about this move so many times. And when, you know, the whole buy a trailer thing, travel, didn't work out, this was part of my meltdown. Like, that means I have to live in this fucking community where I have to run into these people. Like, am I just supposed to live in hell all the time? Like, honestly. And it's not like I have a huge group of people that actually ask Jonna how Jonna's doing, right? That's just not how it is. And so trying to push through. So when Kauai was the answer, I just was like, thank God. It was so much better than what I ever anticipated. So anyway, those are the reasons why I am out. And that's also the reason why when Clint and I first started talking about this, I was like, well, I'm going regardless if you go, because I can't do this anymore. I can't play this game. I can't do it. I'm out. So anyway, turns out he, you know, is coming as well. Yay.
Yay.
And so those are the reasons, you guys. And again, not everyone's an asshole in this community. I really want to say that. There's a lot of really great people, but there's a huge dichotomy. There's a lot of great people, and there's just, it's the Wild West. There's a lot of just, you know, and I've mixed with the low. I've done some low shit. And that's part of that ball and chain that I'm ready to cut off and move on from. So anyway,
I think, as you know, and I'm just trying to process what we've said and talk for a minute here. Not that I felt like you were talking too much. I just wanted to give you a break, get some water.
Yeah. Blow my nose.
You know, we try a lot of, with most all of our podcasts, to give some sort of a actionable, tangible takeaway. You know, something like that, and not just us blabbering for 45 minutes or whatever it ends up being. And so I think maybe just kind of the summary, the reasons we're leaving are very individual, very personal, and at various levels. Some, you know, seemingly relatively superficial, like, you know, we want a place where we can go grab a burger sometimes and not be stared at. And obviously some of them are much, much, much deeper, but all very personal. And so I think the value in this move is that we've taken the time to really understand that about ourselves as individuals, and then the two of us together, and not just, it's never, I shouldn't say it's never, but the driving force hasn't been just fuck this place. It's stupid here.
No.
You know, like you could hear about anywhere. So if you're in a position where you're kind of feeling like that, you know, if it's just that level of, you know, this place is dumb, maybe take some time, have some introspection, and see why. And then you can figure out, okay, is somewhere better?
Right.
Or is it just me?
Right.
You know,
because you take yourself wherever you go.
Right.
Yeah, you do. And, you know, I've had to have those hard questions for myself.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know we've both had those individually, just, you know, thinking through it. And we've had conversations too. Like, are we just the problem?
Yeah.
Can we do something different to integrate better or to, whatever. And ultimately, I think that's why one of the reasons why I'm so at peace and excited about this move is for all of those reasons that we listed. Those are all legitimate things that stay here.
Yeah. Yep, they do. Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening. That's what I have to say. I appreciate each one of you, and I hope you have a lovely day.
And we'll talk to you soon.